got JT Lux here. He and his band have just released a new single called Waited So Long," new video, um, represented by Frank Hannon Productions, of course. And the new record is called Taken By Moonlight, and it comes out May 1st. JT, again, thanks for being here, man.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be on the show.
Thanks, man. Yeah, this is great. Now like I say, I saw you on that show, the Monsters of Rock thing. I see the video. Your drummer, Zach Cook, 19 years old, young kid, playing this 5-piece Ludwig, man. A bonzo type drum set, just killing it. Your bass player playing a classic Ricky, Rickenbacker, Ethan Pekka, of course, on bass. You got Shure 55 microphone there. You're playing a classic Epiphone. It looks like a Zeppelin Cream kind of vibe.
Yeah,
Totally. Now would you say that's an accurate description of your sound as well as your look?
definitely. I would say a lot of those bands from the 60s and 70s, that type of rock trios definitely have influenced us in the last couple this whole last year with COVID and everything. We started as a band right in March of 2020 when everything started to shut down, and we had all these things planned and everything kind of just fell through, but it turns out it was a blessing because we were able to really hone in our craft and work on some behind the scenes stuff and work on our singing, and it helped me develop my voice because I've only been singing for a little over a year now.
Incredible, incredible. Yeah, I mean the voice is really, really great in the single for sure. It's just it fits the music so well. You guys are vintage. I think that's the best word I can come up with is everything about you. Your look, your sound is just really it's a throwback, but it's so original too. Uh,
Yeah.
and I love the backing vocals. Um, it's got that vocal harmony, melodic sound to it, but yet it's a power trio. Really, really unique kind of thing you're doing. Love it. And I think of Greta Van Fleet, Tyler Bryant, uh, Dirty Honey, and of course the Red Voodoo guys, Griffin Tucker, Austin Moe, those guys up there with you. JT Lux fits right into that. That you're happy being part of that group, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm influenced a lot by like those new bands, like you talk about Dirty Honey. There's a band Rival Sons I love, and like Greta Van Fleet. Really, as some people knock on them, but I really think they started this movement of people not being afraid to release rock music again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When I first heard them, I thought, that's a really way too close to Zeppelin. It's really, 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 really close. But no matter what, those guys are really talented. And like you say, I think they open the door for more bands to do that kind of thing. And that's always a great thing. I love
Yeah.
seeing young guys like yourself doing that kind of music because your age group, your demographic is not really a classic rock mainstream. It's much more hip hop, R&B. That's the dominant genre in for your age group. I wanted to ask you too, how important is it to make the contact, make that connection with your age group, and how do you really go about doing that?
Yeah, it's definitely tough. I mean, with how music is nowadays, a lot of people aren't interested in guitar-based music anymore. But I do find that there's a huge underground scene for it that's kind of becoming more and more popular. And it's just about finding the right audience and knowing your audience, and playing the right shows and trying to get in front of the right people because I think that this fan base of underground rock fans are really loyal and they will, there's a lot of people like you mentioned Tyler Bryant, and there's a couple other like Nick Perry. They have a lot of loyal fans, and I think that that's kind of where we're trying to go for is instead of a huge wide audience, more of just like that loyal fan base, you know.
Yeah, it is a niche kind of thing, and I anybody who likes that Tyler Bryant "Dirty Honey" thing is gonna love you, man. Uh, no doubt about it. So, yeah, you can reach those people; you'll have no problem. What's the writing process for you like? I know you write your own songs. Do you have help from the other guys or outside writers or anything like that?
It gets tricky sometimes because every song is has a different process to it, you know, with sometimes it'll start with a guitar riff or a melody that you hum in your head or something like that. But in the instance of Waited So Long, that song, I was just driving and I all of a sudden heard the melody in my head. I pulled over and hummed the melody into my phone, went back to my house and recorded a little version of it, just like a really quick voice recording on my phone. And then later that night, my band and I jammed it, and pretty much what is on that release is pretty close to how it was on the final thing. So that night it all came together in about 15 or 20 minutes, and so it was pretty magical.
Wow, wow. And how often does that happen for you? You know, where you'll hum that melody, bring it in, and you got it going pretty quickly. Is it usually that easy?
It comes in waves, where sometimes you feel like all these ideas are coming in all at once, and you're just trying to figure out how to get them down as fast as possible so you don't forget it, you know.
Right.
But it's yeah, I would say like this last year has actually been really good for us, like I said, with the COVID, because everything was shut down. We had nothing else to do but to write songs. So the process got easier and easier as the more we wrote songs together. And I usually the process is I start with an idea, and then when I collaborate with the band, it becomes more of a rock thing because I usually sit and write with an acoustic, and it starts as a more mellow thing, and then when we all get together, it really kind of it gains a lot of life, you know.
Right, right. Very cool. Now you say you've been singing for about a year. How long have you been playing? When did you start picking up the guitar and really learning the guitar?
I picked up the guitar about 11, 12 years old. So it's been about 9, almost 10 years, and it's been a really fun process to transition from just a singer songwriter because um, as time went on, I realized that you need to be able to sing. You don't have to be the best singer in the world, but that's the best advice that Frank ever gave me was to just sing, and it doesn't matter if your voice sounds bad or not. You just got to go and give all the confidence. And he said he could hear it in my speaking voice that I had a lower tone. So he said, why don't you start with some, Doors, some Jimi Hendrix, some Frank Sinatra, and so he guided me through a lot of that in the beginning stages of the singing, and then connecting it with the guitar playing was another aspect because trying to do two things at once and sing was,
Right.
yeah.
That's just I can't even think of doing something like that. It's amazing to watch you guys do to play and sing like that and do it both very well. It's crazy. Yeah, I mean, how long did that take you? To actually, you start singing. Uh, did you? I mean, did the guitar playing have did it have a negative effect in that way until you got used to it, or did you just couldn't sing with it? You know what I mean?
It definitely made me realize that I needed to simplify my guitar parts a little bit, but that wasn't necessarily a bad thing because I was getting so like into these really interesting chords, and which is a great thing. But I realized that if I simplified it a little bit when I first just start strumming a couple chords, and try and singing over that, and then it was like turning into arpeggios, and then it was turning into leads while I was singing, so like it just kind of started a very simple, and I started to just kind of work my way up into being able to play and focus, not really have to think as much about doing all these crazy parts now.
Right, right. And yeah, sometimes simple is better,
Yeah.
Uh AC/DC has made a pretty great living off of it. Um Now you of course Frank Hannon, mentoring you guys, giving you great advice. I mean, it's priceless to work with him. I'm sure. He's just brilliant. You do a lot of work. I know. I talked to Dino from Red Voodoo, and those guys, they do work on the farm, and I know you guys have done that. And I just look at that and I think how great that is. Just that work ethic, and just being a family kind of. I think,
Yeah.
how much do you think that helps with the chemistry that you guys get from actually working, together on a farm with your hands, that digging a ditch kind of thing, working together like that. How does that translate to the work you do musically and the chemistry of the band?
It definitely keeps us humble, and it makes us remember what life is really about, is just about friends and family and getting together and have a good time,
Yeah.
and just and not being too, sucked into the music where you get lost. Sometimes it's good to take a step back and go and take a break and go do something else for an hour or two and then come back to the music, which I find a lot of the times going out there and doing that workout out in the sun and allows you to kind of think about things um and also makes you not overthink things at a certain point, because when you get to a point where you're trying to make something work and it's not working, you just got to step away from it. And I think that like I said, distracting yourself with stuff like that, it keeps you humble but also doesn't make you overthink the music itself.
Yeah. Yeah, and I heard that, he got you on the farm and doing that stuff, and I thought, man, that's gotta be great for a band. Because so many, get together, they do music, and then they go separate ways, or, I think band chemistry is so important to the sound of the band, and for you guys to do that in that setting and stuff, it's genius, man. It's really cool.
Yeah, it was really cool because getting to know my bass player and drummer, Zach Cook and Ethan Pekka, they were best friends in high school. And so when Zach approached me about playing drums with me, because I had put a demo up or something on SoundCloud with no drums and just me singing, and they had just left their previous band and they were wanting to do some new projects, and he had brought up the idea of working with this guy named Ethan that he had been working with, and it was a perfect fit because their chemistry, and like you said, about the chemistry is such a huge important thing with the music, because if you're not on the same page when it comes to the music, and if you're not even close friends, it's really hard to write music that you really connect with each other. And so that aspect of the chemistry that they had together really helped thrust us into writing songs pretty much immediately after we got together. So and it really developed through this past year.
Man. It's so cool. It's so good, and you can tell right away. I mean, you can tell that just the way you guys, the body language and everything, and the way you guys act together and play together. It's all, in the pocket, and you're so comfortable together. It's great to watch, man.
Yeah.
Um, so many artists are releasing singles and EPs, one song at a time. And I get it. I totally get that. In this day and age, it's kind of the way to do things. You've decided, like any vintage band, um, you've decided to release a full record. Uh, Taken by Moonlight is 8 to 10 songs, somewhere in there.
Yeah, 8 songs, yep.
Yeah, and May 1st, we're gonna get that. And a full record. What was the decision to make a full record as opposed to releasing singles or an EP, something like that?
Well, I think, what it was is to be able to just, give the people what they wanted for this upcoming 2021, and, as we find that more shows are opening up, we had so many songs that we had written, close to, like, 25 to 30 songs that were full from start to finish, everything was arranged and everything, and then we just decided to pick the 8 best ones, and we had originally thought about doing an EP, but we figured, that was a couple months ago, and now as summer is approaching, we just figured we'd want to get a good powerhouse full of songs and that that really connect with people, but have it has a diverse feel to it. You know, it's like you said, it has that vintage feel, but we're also trying to connect with the new modern people, modern age rock fans as well.
Right. And that I would imagine that's very tricky. You know, to keep your soul with it and still connect to a younger crowd. Um it's amazing when I hear this. You didn't use a click track. Uh I've heard I mean, unheard of these days. And you recorded live in the same room. Yeah, I mean, the technology's there to not do that. You can do it, you can tweak it, you can make it sound perfect. You chose not to do that, and that is pretty impressive for me.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, that's you're not you're confident and comfortable with yourself. You're not worried about the flaws. You embrace it.
yeah.
Uh, that's pretty cool. Tell me about that decision not to do the click track and all.
Well, I think it started when Frank had been looking into this Tascam, a 24 track recorder, and it was one of those old vintage ones, and we had been practicing a lot with you know, as just a group together, all in one room, live jamming, and it sounded so good, so we figured why not, you know. And if you listen back to like some old records from the 60s, 70s, you know, Hendrix, Clapton, Eddie Van Halen, none of those guys were using click tracks back in the day, and it was really cool because they all had killer drummers. And so with Zach being so in the pocket and just got such a feel, he can speed up and slow down the song anytime he wants, you know. And so it was really cool experience being able to work with him on no click because you can feel the songs actually breathe throughout the record. And so I thought that was such a really cool aspect. And a lot of records nowadays get quantized, and the first thing they do when they sit down, they set up the click track, you know, and
Yep.
it's like a go-to thing. But we really wanted to try and create something that felt more like it had more life.
Man, yeah, I get chills when you when you talk about that. That's just, I love that kind of thing. I love those little flaws, that little change in speed. All those little things of the live band, that raw energy.
Yeah,
Yeah, man, I look so forward to this record. And I know, I'm an old school guy. Those old records had ebb and flow. They started off in a place and took you on a journey, ups and downs, and ended you somewhere different. Uh, how important was that to you, like sequencing on the record and things like that?
yeah, we thought about the sequence a lot and tried to be methodical about it into where it goes up and down, and it feels like an experience, you know. The kings to do that, the ones who we looked up to a lot is like, you know, Pink Floyd. They did whole conceptual albums where it was like a whole story, you know. And some people talk about where you can line it up with certain movies, you know, and it tells a
Right.
story, which I thought was really cool, you know. We didn't go that crazy on this first record, but I do love the idea of, you know, like you said, the sequence is really important, and you don't want to just throw a bunch of songs in a random order. So we had what we had done is we sat down in a room and we played the songs live in a certain order, and we realized, you know, that 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 order felt really good. And so, and then we sat down and listened to them in our car, and in the list, and it felt really good. So like you said, yeah, it's really important to have a good flow throughout the whole record.
Yeah. And that's a classic thing. You don't get that with the singles or even the EPs. It's a little too short to really get you on a journey. So yeah, I mean, I really look forward to a journey when I listen to a record, and yeah, I'm sure yours is going to be something else. That gear, how important is that to, I mean, you've got vintage gear. You could get the modern gear, you could probably get something that maybe does sound a little better with the technology and everything else. But you got vintage Tascam there, you got the Epiphone classic stuff. Is it an aesthetic, just the way the appearance of it that gives you puts you in a different place in that place, or is it actually the sound, or both?
I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, nowadays you could plug into this digital box. You don't even need to have amps on stage. You don't even have to carry any amps. So, but, we go through the hassle of carrying these big ass amps and loading them on and off the stage. But I think it's worth it because when you listen to a tube amp, there's nothing like a Marshall or a Vox or a Fender, and as for gear that I use on stage now, what I actually run two amps now, just because as a trio, it's definitely hard to get that full sound sometimes. So what I do is on the stage left, I run a Fender, and on the stage right, I run a Vox, and I have it connected to my pedal board where I can turn them on and off, and it's really cool. It allows me to make the choruses really powerful. If we want to bring it really down, I'll turn off one amp and we could just vibe for a little bit, and then we need to get back up again. It brings that energy.
That's awesome, man. I mean, yeah, see, you're so attentive to that experience, that sound experience. It's not just in the air. There's more to it. It's a science to it, and you get that, and that's really it's unique. Yeah, I don't see that a lot. I really don't. And, your attention to that detail is going to set you apart. It really is fantastic. Um, hearing Frank's stories, I'm sure, he's been in the business forever. He's seen the bad, he's seen the good, um, worked with a bunch of people. What do you think the biggest challenge will be for you guys, knowing what's ahead of you? You guys are young, you got a long way to go. What do you think the biggest challenge is?
I think one of the biggest challenges is just to stay focused and stay driven because, with the music business being so tough and the way it is now, there's a lot of rejection that you're going to go through, and dealing with that. We just kind of have to be able to pick ourselves back up and know that, we are uniquely ourselves, and it's not, we're not going to try and be somebody that we're not. And so I think that yeah, I think that, being unique to yourself, and staying true to yourself, and being dedicated and never giving up, that's one of the advice that Frank gave me was, you know when he first started singing, he got rejected a lot, and he said, it really hurt, but he just really kept trying and going for it, and never gave up. And now he's putting out these, cover albums, records. He's putting out all this stuff, and people are loving it, and he's able to go out, play shows, and be able to sing his own songs, and people are able to recognize him, and that's the best thing of all.
Yeah, totally. And yeah, I'm a huge fan, and grew up listening to him, and
Same.
it's great to have people like that and making the music he does. Is there a plan B? If this music doesn't, you know, add up to what you want it to. I like to ask you. You guys are young, long. You got a long life ahead of you. Is there a plan B?
I don't think there's a plan B. Not on the horizon, because I really truly believe that if you only get out what you put in, and if you only put in 50% because you're working on a backup plan, you're never gonna make it.
Yeah,
So we put 100% in, and we're excited and happy for the future. And people say it's one in a million, but I think with the support system that we have, and with Frank and the whole production company and the video people, and the investor guy, and everything, and all this crazy stuff that's been happening for us, I think it's a little bit more than one in a million. So,
absolutely, absolutely. You're making it more than that for sure.
and
Uh,
I would have never guessed that I would have been able to work with somebody like Frank Cannon. Like, right here, here's a here's a poster of Frank Cannon signed for me when I was like 14 years old.
that's so cool. That's
And
awesome.
yeah, and I was a huge fan growing up, a Tesla fan, because my parents are actually in the Love Song music video back in '89. So they're holding up one of the banners. It's really hard to see them, but
That's cool. That's
yeah.
awesome. Yeah, see, and now you're working with them. It's that's a crazy thing. It really that's great. That is really cool. Well, you deserve it. You're working hard at this. Is there a dream collaboration for you?
Ooh, that's a good question. I'd love to be able to jam and maybe work with Jared James Nichols. He's
Mm,
a really killer blues player,
yep.
and he inspired me a lot. And we were able to do this Guitars for Vets show all virtually last November, and he hosted it, and it was trippy because he introduced my name and everything, and being such a huge fan, was it was really cool moment for me. But I definitely want to collaborate with him, or Tyler Bryant, like that guy's really cool. All those guys are really, really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, Jared James Nichols. He dropped on my desk probably it has to be 7, 8 years ago. Yeah, I had no idea who he was. And I took the interview and we talked, and he's just a great guy. He's just a super, super guy. And then I got a chance to see him play, and of course he plays without a pick. Uh,
Yeah,
and he's just brutal. I mean, that guy is just he rips. I mean, he's just to see him play, he's something else. He
yeah.
really,
He said that he knows when people aren't his fans when they ask him for a pick.
yeah, right, no doubt. Picks are for afros, he says.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, he's one cool dude, and man, does he plays his ass off. He's just
yeah.
brutal.
And he's good friends with Frank, and so I don't think that collaboration is as far away as it may seem. So I'm hoping, and just keep
Yeah.
working hard and keep my head down and grinding, and not worrying about if people don't like me or not. I'm just gonna keep doing what I do.
Oh, absolutely. And you guys are pretty different players. He has that really raw kind of, no pick kind of thing, and you're a really melodic, just a really seasoned type of player. uh I think it would be an incredible collaboration. To hear each of you guys in a speaker coming at me, man, oh man, that would
Yeah,
be pretty awesome. I hope
yeah,
that
man.
happens.
Fun.
Yeah, no doubt. uh Things are opening up. Any plans for a tour with this album? Got anything for
Hopefully,
that?
hopefully, like I said, we want to hook up with those new modern rock bands and be able to open up for different types of band. There's another band out there named Vista Kicks. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but
No.
they're actually went to my high school a couple years before me, and they opened up for the Stones
Wow.
summer before last. So they've been really paying their dues and getting out there and just grinding away. So that's our plans for uh for grinding away that, and we're excited to play more shows up this upcoming weekend. We're going to be playing in Oklahoma at Two Frogs Grill. Eddie Trunk's going to be hosting it with uh, he's open the set with a couple originals, and then Frank's gonna get on stage. My band's gonna support him and his originals as well. So, and then the following 2 days, we're gonna be at the Dallas International Guitar Festival, May 1st and 2nd. And so we're very excited because that show kept getting pushed back. We actually had it booked last year, and so we're very excited. And it's kind of surreal that it's only a couple days away.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's too cool. Now, where can people find you online? JTLux.com?
Yeah, jtlux.com. That's jtlux.com. It's jtlux across all social media. Instagram, Facebook are our main ones. You can check us out on Spotify when the album hits, and you can pre-save a physical copy of the CD. A lot of bands nowadays aren't doing CDs at all, which we thought would have been a cool thing, because it's funny though, a lot of people don't even have CD players in their car, but people love that merchandise. People love a physical thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What about vinyl?
Vinyl is definitely we'll see how the physical CDs sell, because we talked to a couple different people, and the vinyl is a little bit more expensive, so we want to make sure the demand is high enough to be able to make it worth it.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. But you guys are, you're a vinyl band, man. That's totally it.
It
Uh,
looks like you got a bunch of vinyl behind you. It looks like you enjoy vinyl, huh?
oh yeah, oh yeah. And if yeah, I love my vinyl. Love my CDs, obviously.
Yeah.
Um, if music hits my ears, I'm loving it, man. But you guys are, you're vintage vinyl. Sign me up for one of those for sure. Uh,
We'll send you a copy when it comes out, man.
Man, too cool, too cool. Yeah. Yeah, definitely want to support you guys in everything you do. Love what you're doing. Taken by Moonlight comes out May 1st. JT, thanks so much for taking the time, man. I so appreciate you.
All right, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Maybe I can come on another time as well.
Absolutely. You're always welcome here, man.
Sweet.
Definitely. All right. Take care, JT. Thanks
All
so
right,
much.
later.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye.